life is now, right? So I want to help you create your vision for 2021, but life is now. So let's not wait till 2021 to start thinking about what we can create in at that time. So I want you to like do an exercise where you're journaling about what's possible in in 1 year from now. It's November 12th. What's today? 12th. Yeah, today's the 12th, 2021. And you're thinking about 1 year ago when you started creating the vision for your life and for your business and for your family and for your friends and your relationships, like all your health, like all the things, because how we do one thing is how we do everything, right? And so how you're showing up, who you are being, that plays out in all those different areas of your life. And those are, that's life. So I just wanted to share with you real quick about a challenge that I participated in my leadership training group last week. I We were asked to go to a cemetery and really connect with the dash. So, what is the dash? We have a birth date and we have an expiration date. Obviously, our expiration date has not happened yet. However, everybody in the cemetery, clearly their expiration date has happened. And then in between, there's a dash, right? That's our life. We are living that dash. And we get to choose how we're showing up in that dash, who we get to be in that dash. So I'm just gonna actually, I wrote down, I journaled, you can see in the dash, I journaled about this. And I wanna like just be vulnerable and share. I'm just gonna read it. I'm not because I just want you to see like this was just stream of consciousness afterwards. Because when I first got there, and you'll see that's what I said, when I first got to the cemetery, I was like, walking around. I was looking at the different plaques and I was looking at the names and the dates. And some people were born in the 20s and 30s and passed in like the 90s or 2000. And then some had obviously very short lives, like, 20 years and what have you. And it starts getting real at that point, right? It starts getting real. I started thinking about these people and how they lived in their dash. What lives did they impact? How did they show up? What were their relationships? Did they have regrets? All those things. Did they look back and say, I'm leaving a legacy because I touched so many people? And so I want to share, I'm just going to read, if you don't mind. I'm just going to read a little bit about my experience. And by the way, I have unfortunately a lot of experience with death. And so I think it took me a little bit to like really have such like a connection in this experience. Within 10 years I lost my mother. 2 weeks later I lost my father, and in that time I lost my cousin, my brother, and all of my grandparents, literally. And I was in the room when one of my grandmothers passed away. I was with her. So there's there's a that was a lot. And I felt like every time I turned around I was at somebody's, in my close family's funeral, and it was intense. And I was a single mom. And anyway, I just feel like there was a little shutdown for me, right? Because I was doing what I needed to do to be a single mom and get my master's degree, and I was doing a lot at the time. So anyway, okay. So in the dash, today I walked through the cemetery. I started reading the names of people, some young, some old. I tried to imagine them and the people, loved ones, that buried them there in that spot. Who were they? What did they do? How did they live? How did they love? But honestly, I wasn't connecting deeply with that experience. So I tried a different approach. I found a beautiful spot on the side of a slight hill where the sun was shining, and I sat in between two graves. And suddenly, I became the dash. I closed my eyes with the sun shining warmly on my face and remembered what my spiritual teacher says: make hay while the sun still shines. Life is now. With the sun still shining brightly and my eyes closed, I thought, how can I be a beacon of light and love for others so that they can live their greatest possibilities in their dash? How can I light the way and let the light grow and expand my own personal container and spread it for miles around me, affect those I may not even know? Even as I sat there in contemplation, I started feeling myself thinking about what I had to get done, about the things I needed to take care of. And I really had to pull back. I started feeling anxious. I started getting into like overwhelm as I was sitting there. And I thought, and I want to talk about that in a minute, but I started feeling overwhelmed. I started feeling anxious, and I had to pull back to the moment so that I can remain present in that experience, remembering that that's what it means to be in the dash. Otherwise, you're missing out on the dashes that create your dash, right? So there's like every little speck, every little dash, every little moment is part of your dash. And so, what are we doing about it? What are you doing about it? How are you showing up? Are you letting dashes just like slip away and slip away and slip away because you're in overwhelm, or you're in fear, or you're in confusion, or we have so many great reasons to not like fully express who we are, to fully show up, to you know to to be present, but think about the end in mind, right? The end of the dash, that final day. Like, what do you want to experience? What do you want to look back and have said, this is the impact I made in the world. This was my contribution to the world. This is how I showed up for others. This is the healing thing I created. A lot of us are, healing in the healing modality world, and whether you're a health coach, a practitioner, you're an essential oil educator, whatever it is, you have a purpose. You have to show up. You get to show up. Remember I don't know if you saw my post from last week. You get to show up. We get to show up. And if you think about being in overwhelm, I had a coach ask, what, because a lot of people say, I'm so busy, I'm so overwhelmed, I got so much on my plate, I can't do anything, I can't add one more thing to my plate. And then, but if you think about all the things that are on your plate and all the things that are keeping you busy, what are they contributing to? Like, what are we really so busy about? And when we say things like I'm in overwhelm, or I'll speak for myself, when I say things like I'm in overwhelm, what that means, like, where is that overwhelm? Like, think about that. Where is overwhelm? Overwhelm is in the future, right? For me, like, because I'm worrying about the future, I'm thinking about the future, I'm overwhelmed that I'm not going to get the things done. Whew! Then we're missing out on what is right now and what's present and what we get to be, how we get to be, not what we get to do, but who we get to be. Because who we get to be is what creates all the things we get to do, right? And so I just wanted to share that experience with you. Um, and I want to hear like what your thoughts are around this. Like, I would love to hear if you're reading my blog, or if you're watching this on Facebook or what have you, email, I would love to hear from you and say, what is your experience about like how you're showing up in your own dash? What is it that you want to create? What is the legacy? What are the things that you want to hear or think or experience before that final date? Because life is now and there's no guarantee. My brother was 23 years old when he died. I was a year younger than him. It was hard. I want to live my fullest possibility, my fullest potential. And I know you do too. So, what do you want to do? What do you want to create? I would love to hear what you want to create. All right. Love you guys. I'll connect with you again soon. Bye.